Hi! Happy Monday and welcome to Business Nights with Antonia. It's episode 2, y'all. So excited. I hope you guys are excited too. So today is Monday. I know, I've seen a lot of memes going around Facebook right now where people are like, oh my gosh, it's Monday. I hate Mondays. But honestly, I love a good Monday, okay? I love meeting with my clients. I love helping my kids figure out what they're going to do for the week. I absolutely 100% love planning out the rest of my week. Hi! I absolutely love just knowing that I'm about to kick some ASS's this week, okay? I just kind of, if I roll into it with a whole bunch of excitement and vigor, I guess you could say, it just makes my week just that much better, right? So I hope you guys had the same with your Monday. Sometimes it's a manic Monday, but it's still a good Monday, right? I hope you guys had an awesome Monday. I know that I did. Oh, they said yes. Yay! I'm so excited you did too. Okay, awesome. So this is episode number 2, y'all. So what are we about to do? You probably haven't learned this, but we're going to go ahead and roll into segment 1. So boom, business relevant. So today's business relevant topic is we're going to be discussing lessons that you learned from a first job, okay? So I have 5 children. 2 of them one's about to be 14 and the other one just turned 13. Okay. And they're just constantly talking about getting their first job. They want to get a job. They want to work at Publix. We have Publixes here that hire teenagers at 14. There's a Checkers, which is a branch of Rally's, where they hire other teenagers at 16. So they're really thinking about getting their first job. And it had me thinking okay, well, when I had my first job, did I really learn anything other than, the government will snatch your check real quick? Was there something that I could build upon? And to be honest with you, the answer is, in fact, yes. So one of the things, let me tell you what my first job was. So I was raised up in a semi-strict household, right? My dad was a sheriff, and I went to not really so diverse schools. So private school, Catholic school, and then I went to a school out in the suburb that was fairly new, and then the middle school was brand new built too. So we were in the burbs. And so I went to a more African-American urban high school, and I lost my mind. My dad was no. So for the summer, one summer, I had to spend the time with my grandmother, because that's what you do when you have bad children. You make them go with the oldest person in your family that that's sane and will notice that they're not around. So that's what my parents did. And I went to Long John Silver's with my grandmother on a whim, because that's what, my grandmother liked. And I walked in, and the lady hired me on the spot because of my cheerleader bubbly attitude. My stepmother looked me right in my face when I got back home, and she was like, "You are not gonna last at that job, Antonia." And I was like, "I'll prove you wrong." And now as an adult, and I'm thinking about that experience, that hard summer working in Long John Silver's, which if you've never been in one, smells like fish, is oily and greasy, but full of teenagers. And we all had so much fun, right? Especially in the drive-thru. But I did learn things. I learned how to clean a bathroom effectively, clean a toilet effectively, which is something I definitely teach each one of my children. And then also how to maintain customer service no matter what, because people are rude, y'all, and fast food. Says that was a first great lesson when your check is short because of taxes. Yes, I didn't understand what was going on my first paycheck. So that was really an interesting thing. But what I learned, and what I always say in interviews when I was going on jobs and stuff thereafter, was the acronym of LAST, when dealing with a difficult customer. So LAST stands for listen, apologize, satisfy, and thank. And that was a really big lesson that I learned, especially being in customer service, being in the food industry, being young, that I keep and I hold on to as I go throughout all relationships of my life, work and personal. So I think of Long John Silver's, and I really, really love that I actually got to work there because they've really instilled something in me. Yes, there was a lot of grease and a lot of hush puppies, right? But they really taught me something that now I'm teaching my children. So that's the business relevant topic I just wanted to share with you guys today. And I hope you enjoyed it. All right, cool. So we're going to move right into the next segment, which is, hi, Antonia. So I had someone write in and they had a question, and I did some market research today and I asked other people how they were handling this. So there's a business owner that wanted to know, they're thinking about hiring a virtual assistant that is overseas, which a lot of people do. But they want them to be able to post for them inside of groups and on social media, and they want to know how they can do that without getting into Facebook jail, right? That's a lot of questions. So to me, I was like, well, you can create a VPN. So that is a virtual private network to this locked out Susan, right? So locked out Susan just needed that solution. So if you're in the same predicament and you're thinking about outsourcing to a VA that happens to not be in your state or your country, get a VPN service. One of the ones that people recommended it's called expressvpn.com. I looked at the pricing. It seems fairly great and the reviews are awesome. So I hope that that works for you, Locked Out Susan. Get a VPN and download it and you pay for it. It is a recurring cost, and then give the information to your VA and you won't be locked out anymore. You'll be smooth sailing, Susan. So, all right. That was just real quick. That's my hi, Antonia. All right. So let's move into Antonia's 2 cents. This is the segment where I have 2 minutes to talk about something, whether it's business related or not. And of course, I want to talk about the election results, but not from the angle that you're probably thinking of. You're probably like, well, yay, she's happy about Kamala and Biden. Yeah, that's nice. That's awesome. But what I'm more excited about is the fact that more than any other election ever in our country's history, more people came out to vote, regardless of who you voted for. Those 640,000 people who voted for Kanye, I don't think you're crazy. I love that you went out and voted in the first place. Now you kind of get it. So maybe next time you'll vote for like a viable candidate is all I'm saying. But I think it's super exciting that you actually took the time to register and to possibly stand in line or possibly mail in a vote. The fact that you actually followed through, I think is a huge accomplishment as an American, someone who was born and raised here. That makes me super proud to see that we can get together for one common goal, which is to change the look of our country or to keep it going in a certain direction. And finally, just get together and go out and vote. So for each and one of you guys who did your part, I commend you. I'm very proud of you. And it makes me love you guys even more, no matter who you voted for, because I'm all about letting people make their own decisions and supporting them through the process. So yeah, I think that was probably less than 2 minutes, but that was my little 2 cents. So did you get it? Okay, great. Awesome. So we're going to go ahead and move on. We have a special guest. So exciting. Okay, so her name is Celine, not Dion, but she is just as beautiful as Celine Dion. And I haven't asked her if she can sing, but I bet she can hold at least one note, y'all. So she is amazing. What she has created in her business, and let her give you guys a little, sneak peek on it before we get into our topic. But what she's created in her business is such an amazing solution to people who are like me and like you. And yes, I can't see you, but I know the solution is for you because you eat. So I love a good company that creates a solution that's going to help make my life easier. So she's going to give us a little bit of brief background about who she is and what she created. And then she's going to get into her topic tonight. She's going to share with us all of her little goodies, or at least 3 or 4 goodies that we can implement hopefully in our lives right after this Business Nights with Antonia. So without further ado, and y'all, I'm just telling you, she looks fierce in this mustard that she has on. Some people can't pull off mustard, but she can. Okay, let me just show you real quick exactly how she... Right? I love it. All right. So without further ado, I know I have her blushing. I'm sorry. I do this to everyone. I just love loving on people, right? So here is Miss Celine.
Hi, everyone. Hi. Yeah, wearing mustard again.
I know. I love it. So is that your signature color?
It has started to be this year. Yeah, I found sandals and mustard. I have a purse and mustard. So slowly taking over.
It is. That's what happens. That's what happened with green with me. It just, look at my binders. Like it's crazy.
Well.
It is so nice to meet you. Can you give us a brief background of who you are and just real quick about this Ketoanywhere? I would love to share with the audience exactly what that is and who you are.
Absolutely. So maybe starting with who I am, because usually when I start talking, people try to place my accent and they're like, where is she from?
I wanted to ask, but I wanted to be surprised.
Yeah. So I grew up in Germany, but I'm French. And I learned English partially in Australia. So you might hear some words come in that are British, Australian. I'm currently living in Chicago, so I'm sure that those 6 years have found their way into my way of speaking. So yeah, expat living in the US. I'm a mom of 2. I work in the corporate world. I lead HR projects, so I'm in the HR space, human resources. And then I have tons of passion projects, and one of them, a very time-consuming one, is to build communities. So I'm happy to share more about that today, on how to build communities around just local group, or also to monetize them for your business. And the business that I also founded last year is called Ketoanywhere. So it's for people eating keto or low carb who are thinking about it. And basically, I'm trying to make it easy for them to stay on their diet wherever they go. So anywhere they go, whether they travel, whether they visit family for Thanksgiving, it's all about giving you tips to maintain that way of eating outside of your house. Because in the house, you can control what you're eating. But as soon as you leave, it gets a bit more challenging. So yeah, my mission is to make the world a keto-friendlier place and provide different tools to achieve that.
See, I need that. I know we're going to get into the building social media communities, but I just want to tell you how happy I am to know that this solution is out there. As I was telling you backstage, I have a real problem that I can't really stick to a diet. I even went out and purchased Noom or whatever on my little app thing, and I quickly turn it off. So it doesn't work for me, not yet. I have to focus on it. But I love that you have something to support you as you go outside and as you go, like you said, visiting your family for the holidays, because that's coming up, right? I'm going to be very honest. Nobody's going to keep me away from my aunt's banana pudding. It's a real problem. My kids, they normally feed the kids first. They're going to be swiftly pushed to the back of the line. But I absolutely love that you created that. So just real quick, and then we'll move into your topic. How long have you been keto?
So I myself have been eating this way for 3.5 years. So it's, you'll hear that from some people who switch to this diet, that they make it a lifestyle change. So it's really, once you switch to it, it's for the rest of your life. For me, initially it was for weight loss, and then I saw a lot of other positive side effects, like better sleep, better digestion, better energy levels, not thirst after meals. And so now I'm sticking to it more for all those other effects rather than the weight loss part.
That's awesome. Well, I'm proud of you and your mustard with your keto life. All right. Okay, so let's switch gears. Let's go ahead and get into the topic of building social media communities. So explain that. What points do you, where do you start to build a social media community?
Yeah. So absolutely. Let me, maybe dial back. So how I first got into community building was I was a member in a Facebook group. Like many of us, we might seek out groups of interest that we share with other people, and we join those groups, and we love sharing advice or hearing from others or learning together. And so I was a member, and at some point I wanted to be kind of give back, and volunteered in a few Facebook groups to take on leading those communities, so existing communities. And that is a bit of a different angle than when you create your own from scratch. So when you take on a community, it will already have rules in place. There will already be a tone, a certain way for people to interact, some positives, some negatives. So you're kind of like evolving it slowly, but you have a real opportunity when you can start it from scratch, for example, for your business, to build more trust with your customers and build more engagement and loyalty. And so that's what I've done with Ketoanywhere, where I started a community from scratch. And for me, the business part really went hand in hand with community building. So it was part of my value proposition was to give people an opportunity to connect with one another and build those connections and friendships and help each other. And then there's kind of Ketoanywhere in the background also being able to provide even more tools and ways to be successful.
Okay. So that's very interesting. So you first started kind of like your internship with communities was to be like a moderator or an admin for one that was already existing?
Yeah, multiple. So I still run, or I'm currently handing over, but anyway, I have been running for 5 years a local moms group, and for all moms dialing in, you learn a lot.
That is dedication.
Yeah. So, and we that group grew over time from 1,500 to 6,000 members. So it's all very local moms, all in the city that I live in and the cities around it. And so mom groups have a very particular dynamic, right? I mean, you've got women who are overtired, who don't know what they're kind of facing or how to deal with certain things. Who have some feistiness sometimes. So that was kind of for me like the steepest learning curve on how to manage conflicts, how to like try to instill like a sense of community and support and a very positive tone. So we've been, in the way we've set up the group, it has been very driven by wanting like the sync mindset. So is it true? Is it helpful? Is it inspiring? Is it necessary? And is it kind? And pretty much every post is reviewed against these criteria. And if we get some like negative dynamics in there, then we manage them. So that was, my training program was the moms group initially.
That's amazing. Yeah. So I will admit I never joined PTA in any of my kids' schools just because of the moms. So the fact that you actually have been able to wrangle 6,000 moms for 5 years is commendable. I think that's amazing. So I like that though you guys had criteria that you would review before you approved a post, or when you were reviewing posts to take down? Like, was it free for all?
Yeah, for the take down group, it's a Facebook group, so we don't have post approval turned on. Most of the time, anyone can post, but then we review what is being posted against certain criteria. And again, in that particular community, it's all about tone, about being helpful, encouraging. So anything that would not follow that sync mindset would be redirected and managed kind of offline or in individual conversations.
Okay, so you guys do give like feedback offline in a message in Messenger, probably with the people who you're kind of like, hey, this isn't really
I would definitely, like if any of like the people listening have groups or even pages you message, I would encourage you to give feedback to people, because it helps you then also ensure that when they're maybe about to post something similar again, they remember why it was redirected. And I mean, be very like friendly, like you mentioned earlier, was the customer service kind of credo in the fast food industry is very similar in the group. Like you don't want to upset people, but at the same time, you're also making sure that everything kind of stays within those self-defined boundaries.
So I think, so another question that I had was in regards to, your group, how many people, obviously you started with just you, but how many people have you been able to grow it to now?
Yeah, so Ketoanywhere at the moment has 4,000 people in the Facebook group, and actually very similar numbers across all platforms. So Instagram, I also have a community of about 4,000 something. The Facebook page, also about 4,000. TikTok, about 3,000. So
you be TikToking? Okay.
It's 2020. It's time to embrace TikTok.
I need to follow you on TikTok. I did my first TikTok last week. Oh my gosh.
Welcome to the dark side.
I know. I want to do the one where they're like, they think I'm too old to be here. One of those.
Oh, yeah.
But anyway, I digress. So, okay. So how were you able to leverage your experience from managing the other groups in order to grow your group to 4,000 members?
Yeah. So I think what's been very or what I would recommend to anyone building a new community is don't just like go to Facebook, click create and go for it. Like give it some thought. I would really recommend, and that's how I approach this with Ketoanywhere, is when you initially started your core business, you thought about your mission, you thought about your goals, your objectives, how you're going to measure it, and you want to do the same or start again with your community. So what's the mission of your community? Like, how is that maybe different, or how does it complement what your business is doing? Mm-hmm. What are your goals going to be? What are some milestones that you can measure? So within Facebook as well as Instagram, you get a lot of insights through analytics. So how are you going to define what do you want to achieve with your community, right? Is it, if it's to be honest, if it's just a way to promote yourself, most likely you're not going to get the engagement. Like people want to have natural conversation, and it's okay if here and there it sneaks in like, oh, it'd be helpful if like this could be helpful for you, or it needs to be very relevant to what they're talking about. Mm-hmm. And then once you have also kind of your value set for your communities, you can set your guiding principles, which are kind of the rules people follow. And then you can start kind of building things up. But it's not like, I wouldn't recommend just let's open a group.
Yeah.
Put some thought, what do you want to achieve with it? Because that will also drive where you build your community. So I started on Facebook, but actually with Ketoanywhere, I, for the first time, tried to build a community on Instagram, and that is more engaged than the Facebook community. So be like conscious of where kind of what your audience strategy is. So who do you want to attract? Where are those people? How do you want to attract them? So do you have like visual content? Do you have videos? Then off to TikTok you go. And then tailor where you invest your efforts, because it's not necessary. It doesn't necessarily have to be a Facebook group. Instagram also has opportunities through like group chats and just interacting kind of like on people's profiles. So like you're going to where they are at.
Right.
That's kind of where you're interacting and building relationships, rather than waiting for an algorithm to have your group show up. Right.
Right. Because goodness knows the algorithm, I feel like it changes every minute of the day. Like,
yeah. I was just in a Facebook. So I work with a bit closer with some of Facebook developers, and we had an announcement call a few weeks ago where they said, so groups were prioritized by the algorithm up until a few months ago, all groups, compared to pages. So anyone here who has a business page might really be struggling if you're not paying for ads, you're not getting visibility. And yes, that's intentional.
Yeah, they're doing it on purpose.
Yeah, but now groups, they're shifting it, and they're going to be launching a slightly new version of public groups. So they're going to have slightly different functionality where, for example, if someone wants to join your public group, they're automatically in. And then afterwards, you can decide whether you want them to be in. But these new public groups are going to get more visibility in the algorithm. So time to think about
instead of having those membership admittance questions.
Yeah. Yeah. There's going to be some differences, and those groups are going to be ranked higher. So yeah, I'm currently, my Ketoanywhere group is a closed group. Yeah. And I've been thinking of whether I want to start a new one that's public and encourage people to transition over, just because the visibility aspect will help a lot to engage more people.
Are you unable to now change the group to cannot?
No, you do that up until about 1.5 years ago. You were able to switch secret to closed and closed to public. You're no longer able to do that.
You know what, Facebook? They know what they're doing. They've got strategies for decades. These Facebook people.
Yeah.
Oh. But yeah, that is so true about the Facebook business pages, which is why I encourage a lot more people, when they do go live on their personal pages, because more people will see them. So that is so true. Oh, these people, they're like puppet they're puppet masters. So that we have to love and respect because we have to play on their playground, right? So,
they do give us a playground for free. So
they do. Right. Well, some aspects for free. Okay. Well, that's really good feedback for people who are thinking about starting a group. It is like a mini little business. It's like an extension of your brand and your business. And if you want to be a 5-year lifer like you are, definitely put some thought into it so that it has a chance to be around for years and years and years to come. I wanted to ask your opinion real quick because a lot of people are doing this. I'm seeing a trend where they're creating Facebook ads and it's a link to a landing page to get people into their group because Facebook doesn't let you put in a Facebook group URL into the sign up page. Did you use that? Do you know people that use that, or what is your opinion in that strategy?
Yeah, I've not myself used it. I have to say, I mean, in general with ads, what I've been consistently hearing is that as soon as it has an external link, it gets less traction. And again, even though it's an ad, the algorithm deprioritizes it because basically Facebook doesn't want people to leave Facebook, right? Mm-hmm. So if you put an external link, you are running the risk of, although it's an ad, getting less quality visibility. Yeah, it's a bit tricky. I mean, how do you grow a group without advertising it? So organic growth is challenging. I've been focused on organic growth. So actually for Ketoanywhere, the 4,000 people haven't been through ads. Okay. I haven't run any ads for Ketoanywhere. I have run ads for a nonprofit I manage. But again, there's ads are good, but I'm not sure if it's the best way if you have that URL challenge to use that to grow.
Right. Yeah. So in regards to, what are your like 2 best tips for organic growth of your Facebook page?
2. Okay. Let me think.
Well, however many you want to share. I don't want to give the whole like bag away. So it's up to you.
Okay. I mean, first the best, you'll find the best people by having your existing members recommend, right? By having them invite friends, because they'll know what their friends want, and those will be the ones who will actually interact with your content and be engaged because they remember that Antonia told them to join the group, right? Mm-hmm. So you can incentivize people to do so. I mean, you can do like little giveaways or shout outs like, oh, I don't know, Mark invited 3 of his friends. Thank you so much. So you can kind of recognize people for doing so and encourage them. That's been very successful. So a lot of Ketoanywhere is through word of mouth and referrals, and also don't be shy. Like post in your group, like, guys, we'd love to grow and help more people. Can you like invite friends? Just ask. Like people won't mind. And otherwise, I think we've all learned to just scroll past. So it's fine. And then the other way that I've grown my groups is through other groups that are relevant and in a similar niche, and obviously make sure to check out their rules so that you like don't step on the other admin's toes. But that's also always a good way if people are like, so in my context, they would be like, oh, I wonder what to order if I go to an Italian restaurant. And then an answer could be like, oh, that'd be a great question to ask in Ketoanywhere. And the albums, we have like a whole list of order options for Italian food. Might be helpful to check that out. So again, like be mindful of the other group's rules, of course. But I found that that's a good way to get also, again, relevant members, because like it's similar to Instagram. Buying followers, buying members helps you nothing because they want to interact and engage. So you want to attract the right people
that are actually going to post and do things and be involved and ask questions. Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Oh, that's awesome. Well, is there anything else that you wanted to share about building social media communities?
Well, I did want to share, so 2 things. If you plan to monetize your group, so to build a community where you can make money, again, think of that ahead of time and be transparent, okay? So that your members from the beginning know, I don't know, there might be some affiliate links here and there, or you might be pitching some of your, like once a week, you might be pitching one of your services. If they know that from the beginning, it's cool. If you started like 6 months in, people might be turned off and leave. Yeah. So I think like be honest. If you plan to have some way to make money out of that, then just disclose it.
Yeah.
And then the other piece is when there are some challenging situations that come up, some, I don't know, bad like behaviors that aren't in line with what you would like to see in your group.
Right.
Always good to take a deep breath, leave your screen for 2 minutes or even a night. That's even better. And then get back to it in the morning. Because you are very visible in your own group, and people can like resort to screenshots, etc. So just be
let it rest.
Let it rest.
Let it rest.
Yeah,
and totally good advice.
Yeah, otherwise, I mean, anyone, like, feel free to reach out when it comes to admin topics. Happy to help. Also, if you have a bigger community already, I recommend on Facebook to look up the group Power Admins. That's where we collaborate with Facebook, and they give advanced visibility on features, so that on Facebook can be really advantageous to be in the Power Admin group.
I'm gonna write that down.
Yeah, they do have some criteria. So if you're just starting, you might not make the cut. But if you have a group that's a little bit established, then most likely they'll welcome you with open arms, and you get some you can learn from other admins. You get some advanced insights. So it's a cool community to be a part of.
That's really neat. Facebook, for the downfalls that they do have, they really do try to make a community and keep people obviously on their platform. They're like genius keeping people on their platform. So I think that's really awesome that they created a community for admins too. It's genius, right? Like, why didn't I think about it? But, I digress. So those are some really good tips. I really like what you said about monetizing your group, just being transparent and letting people know in the beginning sooner rather than later. Let me see. So we have a question from Damaris. She says, is the keto group monetized?
Yeah, so it's partially. So at the moment, how the group is mostly monetized is through affiliate links. So you have actually the option on Facebook to also run like a subscription group, so where people would pay like a fee to be in your group. I haven't gone down that route, but I do share affiliate links to like keto products or other brands I partner with, and that way get a little bit kind of back for the work that I put in. Whereas all the other communities I run, so most of them are local, none of them have like any income streams, but the keto group does.
Okay, awesome. She also has another question. She says, I don't have a Facebook group yet. Are you recommending that we just post on our personal page to make people aware of us and then create a biz page /Facebook group? Great question, Damaris.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I would definitely recommend that you create at least a business page, because when people look up your business, which might have a different name than you have, you want to make sure they can find you. And the business pages rank pretty well on Google. Like, it's not bad. I think a few months into building, so setting up the page and then building up the group, the Facebook group had like top search result on Google, which,
girl.
Yeah, which was pretty awesome. I didn't expect it. I was like, oh, cool, nice. In my entry question, I asked, like, how did you hear about the group? And people would put in Google. So I was like, I'm going to Google myself here. So yeah, definitely create a business page. Even though you might want to go live from your personal profile, have the business page, and then you can link your page to your group. And then you could also either in the group then post as yourself or post as a page. So like more kind of official things, you can post kind of seen as the page. And when you're interacting in the day-to-day, you can be more yourself. But again, like, do it when you also feel confident that you have the time to manage and build content, because you start the one initiating conversations. So think about how you can, like, a few weeks long, maybe even a few months, what can you put in place to get this conversation going, introduce people to one another by tagging them, and start building up that kind of community aspect. It's like going to a networking event and you're trying to be the only person who knows everyone, and you're trying to introduce everyone to each other so that they become friends. And that's kind of what you're trying to do in a Facebook group in the beginning.
That's what I love. It's like, Sheila, meet Regina, I love that. Great question, Damaris. Even better answer. I love that. I like how you even gave the tidbit about like posting official stuff with your business page versus your actual personal name. So I need to think about that. So my little Facebook community has only been around for like a month. It, we're at 250 people almost.
That's
Yay!
awesome. It's
It's so
fantastic.
teeny.
It's really good.
I love it. It's so exciting. And we do a lot of like giveaways, and I go live and I just do my little pop-ins. We do teachings on Sundays. So even though it may seem like it's not, it was just kind of popped out of nowhere, which the end user, that's always how it feels. I definitely have a plan and a track, and I know where I want it to go. And eventually I want to be able to give out business grants and just all these different things. And that's why I'm so happy you share the same idea, which is to have thought of what you want to do with that group before you actually create it and just jump in. Like, it's not just a lead generating thing. It's an actual community.
Yeah. And I think another thing to keep in mind is kind of try to put like the numbers of members aside. What really counts is how engaged your group is. Like, I'd rather have a group of 250 that are like every day kind of checking in on each other, having fun, liking, commenting, than a group of 5,000 where it's crickets, right?
Just nothing's going on. Like, I don't understand that. I don't get it.
Yeah.
The group that we're both in together, which we won't say the name, we'll keep them private, but I love that group. People are posting every single second and responding, and even the posts that don't get, all the responses, they get a like or two. Like, it's electric constantly, no matter what time of the day you're on Facebook. And that's what I aspire to have my groups like. Is that how it is in Ketoanywhere? I don't know if I'd be admitted in because I'm a little chunky and I don't know if I could commit to the keto lifestyle. I'm just going to let you know.
So Ketoanywhere has been interesting because it used to be very active and then COVID hit, right? And as you guys might be aware, we don't travel anymore, which was a huge part of posts. We don't eat out as much anymore. Like, some of us have shifted to takeout, but overall it's just more cooking at home. And that has put quite a dent in the engagement within the group. And now I'm like, as I mentioned earlier, I am thinking about converting it into a public group to get some of that back, because I've had to pivot a bit. So like more towards product reviews and like more like through my blog, I share a lot of information on like how to stay keto at Thanksgiving and gift guides and things like that. But the Facebook community has suffered a little bit because it was very geared toward travel and eating out, and that's what people expect in there. So if you post something different, it takes them a bit to kind of get on and accept that. So yeah, that's unfortunately one of the side effects of this wonderful.
But it's pivoting.
But it is what it is. We'll learn it.
That's pivoting, and I'm still, I mean, even if I was in the group before, I would still engage and still not be keto lifestyle. Like, it wouldn't work over here, but I would engage though. Like, ooh, y'all look so good eating healthy. Go for y'all.
Yeah, it's funny because while the Facebook group engagement has gone down significantly, Instagram is the biggest community. I wouldn't have expected it. Like, there's so much support and encouragement, and so there I haven't seen a dip at all. Was a topic.
Just one good question about Instagram, since you're saying like the community. So I've seen Instagram groups where they're like little chat groups and they keep adding people, and it's only one person can add the people, and they're like I've seen those support pods where people like all their stuff and stuff. So is that what you're talking about when you're saying the community, or you're talking about people who are constantly engaging with your posts and with your page? And is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, mostly the people who are constantly engaging, or like view your stories, comment every time, where you end up having like one-on-one direct messaging conversations with them over everything. Those little support pods, like these chat groups of a few more people, I actually I think, when was it, last week or 2 weeks ago, created one for the first time, where it's like people who are more engaged with the content. So it's like a group of 10, 15 who like, I was friends with all 15, and then I was like, I'll bring you all together so that you guys can be friends.
Because I think you can have up to like 30 people in one, right?
Yeah, you could grow it bigger for sure. Yeah. So the chat piece, I haven't been focusing that much on it, but on Instagram, really just the constant interactions and encouragements. And I post a lot on stories of like the day-to-day things. The wall on Instagram is very curated, but the stories is kind of just whatever comes up in my life. Yeah. And so that's where I've built the like most friendships through, because people are like, oh, this looks awesome. And then you start like talking about it. And yeah, it's, I mean, I'm open to having kind of that Ketoanywhere business be like a very fine line with friendship, because I'm building friendships and relationships with a lot of these people, which works for me. Obviously might not for everyone, but yeah.
Okay. Well, I want to say thank you so much for coming and discussing your topic. Before I let you go, you're no different than anyone else. You're in the hot seat, so I get to ask you 5 questions.
Okay.
Okay. All right, what's the first one? Okay, so you talk about building relationships and friendships. So how many years is the longest friendship that you've had?
Okay, let me think how old I am. Like 28.
28 years?
Yeah, I got friends with a girl when I was like 9 or 10, like it's between 8 or 10, and she lives in Germany, I live here, but we've always been friends, and we still text each other and send each other voice messages.
So I just did the math in my head, and you look good, girl. Good for you. Go ahead. Okay. You better work with that keto stuff.
Right.
I know you look so fresh faced. COVID wear. Okay. So then my second thing is, when you move, because it sounds like you've moved a couple of times, do you move on your own or do you hire a moving company?
So most of my moves have been on my own. The last one, work ended up helping with the relocation, so that was with the moving company. I would now always recommend moving company. On your own is hell.
Once you do it once, you never go back. So I have like a built-in moving company with most of my kids are boys and my husband.
Oh, cool. Awesome.
That's it. But this last time he was like, no, you got to hire. Laziness. Oh, okay. So my third question is, out of all the places that you've moved, would you move back to one of those places or would you move to somewhere new?
It's a great question, because I did move back once, and after 9 months, I was like, I need to go. I felt like Monopoly when you're like sent back to the first, like to the starting blocks. I was like, I couldn't do it. So yeah, in the future, moving somewhere else. And yeah, currently we're actually pretty open to where life takes us. So.
Oh, that's awesome. Because you pretty much, I don't know what your husband does, but or wife, I'm not gonna judge. I don't know you that well, Celine. I'm sorry. Your marriage person. Yes. Where they work, are they remote?
We're both working from home at the moment. Yeah, we're both working corporate jobs for an insurance company, and we both work remote. And
that's
so
amazing. I love it. Yeah, my husband's starting his barbecue company, and I was like, babe, I want to move in like 4 years. And he's like, well, what am I gonna do with the grill? I said, well, you hitch it on the back of the minivan and let's go.
Take it with. You can grill anywhere.
Right. People eat food. They eat meat everywhere. Okay. So my fourth question is, I ask typically this question because it tells me a lot about their childhood. So how old were you when you first got your car, and what kind of car was it?
So I got my first car when I was 18. That was in Paris at the time, in France. And my mom thought the best way to get me a car is to get me a really crappy one, so that if I hit something and no one cares. So I had this 13-year-old Renault 5, which is like a tiny Renault, like it's smaller than a Smart. It's tiny. And it was so old that when my friends saw it for the first time, they asked me if it actually had a reverse gear, because they thought it was so ancient that it couldn't go reverse. So
was it a stick?
Yeah, stick. Yeah, I learned on stick, and I drove stick for 10 years or so before I started.
So lucky. My sister learned stick. First, I think my uncle tried to teach her. He was in the Army, and you could just imagine how that was. And then my dad tried to teach her. I don't know who ended up teaching my sister. All I know is nobody wanted to teach me stick. So
it's tough. It's not easy. And now I've been driving automatic since we moved here, and we already had also that for the last years when I lived in Switzerland, and you actually forget how to use stick.
I really want to learn how to, though.
Yeah, it's
I don't know.
So much more fun to drive because you have so much more control on how you leave the.
I just want to hear the roar. That's what I want to hear. Okay, so last and final question, and I hope it's not a doozy. If you, and I wonder if you've already thought about this, but if you were not doing what you are doing right now in your corporate life and in your business, what else would you be doing for the rest of your days?
So that's similar to the question when I get asked if you win the lottery, what would you do? I would be a diving instructor in the most likely Indian Ocean. So I love to like scuba dive and deep sea dive.
Oh my gosh.
So if money was no issue, I would charter a yacht and I would be a diving instructor and I would take tourists on the yacht and just be on the ocean all the time and dive.
Oh my gosh, that's that keto life for you right there.
Yep.
It's like, I want to go deep sea diving.
Yeah.
No, I don't need this
all day, just like fresh out of the ocean.
this
like
house in Nantucket. I don't need that. I want to go deep sea diving.
Yeah.
I think that's awesome. Oh my gosh. I wouldn't even know how to answer the question, to be honest with you. I'm just grateful I could get through the next day with all the people in my house. So I'm very grateful for that. I do that.
I just paused for a second and was like, do I actually see my family in that vision? But no, I do. They can come on. They can come too. The kids can do learning.
Chilling on the boat while you're down in the reef. Gotcha.
Sure.
Okay, cool. Well, thank you so much, Celine, for coming and spreading your keto joy and your social media community knowledge. I really, 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 really appreciate it. I hope you had a great time just as much as we did. You did? Okay.
Yeah, you're awesome. This was fantastic. I love it.
Thanks.
Such a good mood. I have to figure out how I'm gonna like come down from this hype now to go to bed.
I know. Every time after a live, I'm like, okay, what are we doing? And you should check Friday. The intro and outro to Friday is like, it has bass. So wait.
Nice.
It's nice.
I'll be watching. I love it.
Well, thank you guys so much. Please tell Celine in the comments. Thank you so much. Oh, Damaris said, thank you, Celine, and good night. Love it, love it, love it. If you want to stick back behind the scenes just real quick, and I'll give you a proper goodbye. Is that okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, everybody say bye. Oh my goodness, you guys. I hope you learned a lot. I hope you were taking notes from someone who's been running Facebook groups for over 5 years, dealing with hussy, fussy, tussy mommies, right? Like, it is crazy that she stayed in it for as long as she has, and then she's created a successful group on her own. I love hearing from people who go through the experience and who are currently living it and in the thick of it day to day. Like, I feel like that's the best real world experience and knowledge that you get firsthand. So I'm so grateful for her spending the time away from her family on this Monday night, having a full-time job and having a full-time business. Like, it's craziness, the amount of jewels and gems that she dropped on us and time she spent. So that wraps up episode 2 of Business Nights with Antonia. Let me know in the comments if you guys enjoyed yourself, if you are ready to see the next Business Nights, which is on Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Oh, Takia said awesome info. Thank you. Go Takia. So I'm super, super excited for what is to come on Wednesday and for the remaining amount of the season. I just want to tell you one thing, which is thank you. Thank you so much for always showing up. Thank you for being your authentic self. And thank you so much for welcoming me and my guests into your home, onto your phones, wherever you can see us on YouTube, on Facebook. We are there. So have a great rest of your night and bye.